Hi, I'm Rory from PCC. In this video I just wanted to go through one of the signature mods that we tend to fit to a lot of bikes that we're building in the workshop at the moment. It's one of those mods that looks complicated. It's sometimes a little bit complicated to explain unless you can see what I'm looking at. But the aim of it is to basically take the rear light, the indicators, the diving board, plastic section, all the way off the back of the bike to super clean up the rear ends on the bike. It's one of those things that takes a few little parts and there's a couple of tricks to it. So I'm just going to sort of outlay those as we've got them here, just to explain a little bit more about them, why we do it and what looks cool. So starting from sort of the biggest piece here, the most obvious piece is the Rizoma undertray. We're going to put all the parts in links underneath on the video, so if you need to have a look at these parts in more depth, then do so. This is the bit that holds it all together. This will sit up and underneath the bike, at the back on the rear undertray underneath the pillion seat or hump. It will fit all models, so it's a good start. This mod is going to work on whatever bike you've got. From that point, what we do is fit these really cool 3-in-1 indicators on either side. Now, there are a couple of brands that do these, well, 2 or 3 really. We tend to use the Kellermans, which are these ones here. They're really smart, they're really small, they look like an indicator. I know it might sound a little bit silly, but depending on the type of build that you're going for, it'll work or it won't. So we tend to use these on the more vintage builds. If you're going for something a little bit more neo, sort of modern looking, then the options are also there to fit what are the new TENS 3 motor gadget indicators. They look like this. They've got a tapered edge, LED finish on them. They're really cool, they're really smart. You do need to consider a couple of different things when you're fitting these. For example, the motor gadget parts are an M8 thread and the Kellermans are an M5. So when you get the undertray originally, there are no holes here. We've had to do that as a custom mod ourselves, and you would need to do that at home. Just make sure you've got we tend to use a 4.5mm drill bit and a 7.5mm drill bit, and then ream through at 8 or 5 just to give like a nice finish on there. So these indicators have the rear light, running light, a brake light, and an indicator in them. So whilst they look very, very small, they do like multifunction, super bright, and it basically gives you an opportunity to really slim down the tail of the bike. When you come to fit them, there's a couple of bits that we'd recommend getting. So the first of those are the Rizoma indicator plugs. What this is basically the male part that will plug into the BMW loom. So you will still need to obviously plug them into the bike, and fitting these basically means you haven't got to chop up your current indicators. You can do that if you want to save a bit of money, but for the sake of the extra cost, I think they're about 16 quid or so, it's just a bit of a no-brainer for us. So the other part that's going to make this job super, super easy, a heck of a lot easier, is using the Rizoma, what we refer to as the Club S loom, because that's the Rizoma type of indicator that has the 3-in-1 function. So it comes with a rear light plug on it. This plugs into the rear light of your bike, not the rear loom plug under the rider's seat, but actually under the rear light. When you unplug that and take the diving board off, you'll be left with the plug, and that goes into there. It then allows you to plug in a number plate light using this lead. Obviously you can wind that down, and then depending on which low level or high level plate you want to use, you can go from there. And then it leaves 2 other plugs on here. One is for your running light, one is for your brake light. So plug that into the loom on there. That can then basically sit there. You can tidy it up if you fancy, that's cool. Moving back to the one that we've mocked up here already, you can see that these are the plugs that we've used here. I've soldered these. You will have 4 wires on all of these 3-in-1 plugs. So the 4 wires will be for, you'll have an earth, you'll have an indicator, you'll have a running light, and you'll have a brake light. On all of those, you need to take the indicator lights. So that will be, in this instance on the Kellermans, it will be the grey light and the black, wire and the black wire. They do vary a little bit colour-wise on different units, so read the instructions to make sure you're getting the right one. So you'll take one off on one side like this for an indicator. You'll then take in this case, a red and a black, but again, check the colours. These will be your running light and your brake lights. And all you need to do at that point, plug this into the indicators on the bike. Obviously this is plugged into the bike at the time. Simply match these up on one side, one like this, and one like this. Add the same in the other side, and then just neatly tie up the loom out of the way. So once we've run the number plate light all to the back of the bike, there isn't really an awful lot of wiring going on here as well. So it slims down not only the back, but also takes quite a lot of the bird's nest out of it as well. Tape that up, clip it down, clip in the rear loom plug, and away we go. It's as simple as that. It's a really cool, effective mod. It's one of those things that looks a bit complicated. It's one of those things you are going to need maybe a bit of shrink wrap. We use shrink solders, so you can buy them online. You can get hundreds, like $5 or something like that. It's not a lot of money. Simply shrink solder the wire together, shrink wrap it over to keep it waterproof and protected from any weather that might come up through the under tray, and away you go basically. It's not as hard as it looks. I can probably do one of these realistically in about an hour or so now. So yeah, give it a go. If you have any queries, questions, give us a shout anytime using the socials, the emails, and all the other bits that all the other ways you can contact us. And we'll put again all the parts in the information below the video.